Hello everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful new day. Today, I'll continue telling you the story of the single mother, Dieu Hân. That night, the rain poured down in torrents. The wind slipped through the window frame, making the curtains sway gently. In the small house, a dim yellow light flickered weakly. Hân was gently rocking little Tom to sleep, feeling a rare sense of peace. But that moment didn't last long. A sudden knock echoed through the door, heavy and urgent. She startled. Who could it be at this hour? Hân walked slowly to the door, her voice cautious. Who's there? No answer, only the pounding rain on the roof. She was about to turn away when a deep, hoarse man's voice came from outside. Open the door. I need to talk to you. After a brief hesitation, she slightly opened the door. A man stood there, cloaked in a black raincoat with the hood pulled low. Only his sharp eyes were visible beneath the shadow. Are you Hân? Yes. Who are you? He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out a folded piece of paper and said in a rough, menacing tone, You should know what's best for you. Stay away from Ton, the sooner the better. Hân froze. Each word felt like a blade piercing her heart. She stepped back, trembling. What are you talking about? I don't understand. The man moved closer, his breath heavy, his voice threatening. Don't pretend to be innocent. If you keep staying by his side, someone will pay the price. You don't want that, do you? Fear flooded through her body. His eyes glinted with cruelty before he suddenly grabbed her wrist tightly, leaving a burning mark. Hân didn't dare scream. She just stood frozen as he turned and disappeared into the curtain of rain. The door shut. She collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. Looking down, the red imprint of his fingers glowed on her wrist as tears welled up. The echo of his chilling words rang in her head. She unfolded the paper. Under the dim light, the scribbled words read, If you don't disappear from Tana's life, don't blame me for what happens next. Her hand shook violently. Who could do this? A rival of Tan? Or someone from his past? That voice. That figure. Why did it feel so familiar? All night Hân couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, the man's shadow appeared. She was terrified, yet she didn't dare tell Tan. He was busy, and she didn't want to worry him. The next morning when Tan called, his warm voice came through. How are you? Did you sleep well? Hân forced a smile, hiding her fear. I'm fine. Just a bit tired. But Tan sensed something off. Hân, is something wrong? Are you hiding something from me? She paused, then softly replied. No, please don't worry. It's just work stress. She hung up, but her heart stayed restless. The fear crept back, clouding her thoughts all day. She told herself to be strong, yet the memory of that cold stare haunted her. That evening, while picking up Tom from school, she noticed a black car parked nearby. When she turned to look again, it was gone. A chill ran down her spine. Was he watching her? That night, Hân locked every door and window carefully, pulling the curtains shut. She opened her diary and wrote, If something happens to me, please don't blame yourself, Tan. I just want you to be safe. Tears splashed onto the page. She knew something was coming. Crescent moon at the same time, Tan was facing someone from his past. A man with a deep grudge. Perhaps he was the one who had come to Hân that night. Still shaken, Hân held little Tom close, her only thought now, find help, get away from here. Outside, the storm worsened. The wind howled against the tin roof. She threw on a raincoat, wrapped Tom's head in a scarf, and hurried out. Unbeknownst to her, the man was watching from behind the trees across the street. Each step splashed against the wet road, swallowed by the sound of the storm. Tom, half asleep, murmured, Mom, where are we going? Be quiet, sweetheart. Mommy's taking you somewhere safe. At the end of the village, Hân spotted an old abandoned shack. She carried Tom inside. Lightning flashed, revealing the damp, broken room. Kneeling down, she held his tiny hand and whispered firmly, "Listen to me. Stay here and don't come out, no matter what you hear. Understand?" "Mom, I'm scared." "I know, baby, but I'll be back soon. Promise me you'll stay put." She hugged him tightly, breathed in his warmth, then turned and stepped back into the storm. As soon as she left, a sound of footsteps splashing in the mud came from behind. She spun around. The man was there. His hood still covered his face, but those piercing eyes locked onto her. "I told you to stay away from him. Didn't you understand?" he snarled. "What do you want from me? I've done nothing wrong. Right or wrong isn't for you to decide," he growled, stepping closer. "I'm just following orders." "Whose orders?" He smirked faintly. "You don't need to know." The rain beat harder. Han's breath quickened. She suddenly turned and ran, heart-pounding feet slipping on the muddy ground. "You can't run forever," he shouted behind her. She stumbled, fell, but kept going, mud splattering everywhere. A flash of lightning lit his face, and for a split second she recognized him. Her body froze. He lunged. She swung a broken branch at him in desperation. A dull crack. He dodged, grabbed her arm, and threw her to the ground. Pain radiated through her, but she fought back, kicking and struggling. "Let me go." "Why are you doing this?" "Because some people aren't meant to have happiness," he hissed, eyes blazing. The storm raged. She shoved him away and ran again, breath ragged, tears mixing with rain. He followed, shouting, "You won't get away." Ahead lay a narrow stream, overflowing from the rain. She turned. He was only a few meters behind. Without thinking, Han jumped. The icy current swallowed her whole. He stopped at the edge, watching, then sneered, "Brave. But bravery won't save you." The current carried Han away into the darkness. In that fleeting moment between rain and lightning, one thought echoed in her heart. She must survive for Tom. The man yanked so hard that Han lost her balance, mud flying everywhere. The rain still hammered down, but now its sound couldn't drown out her pounding heart. He didn't let go even once. His rough hand clamped around her arm like a vice, digging into flesh and bone, dragging her toward the dim little house through the rain. The house was pitch dark, lit only by a faint bulb above the stove. He lifted Han like an obstacle and hurled her into an old chair in the living room. The chair creaked. Before she could catch her breath, a stinging slap across her cheek came without warning. His smile appeared, twisted, feral, like a wolf with its prey. "I told you not to run," he growled, his voice like embers shouting into her face. "I'll show you what happens if you cross me." Dazed, Han went numb. Her eyes filled with tears. Sobs were stuck in her throat. She sank to her knees, clutching her chest, stammering apologies. Please spare me. I only want my child to be safe. I don't want to hurt anyone, please." But he felt nothing. He stepped forward, yanking her hair so hard she jerked, then threw her toward the corner of the bed. He pulled out a coarse, rough, cold coil of rope. He wrapped it around Han's wrists and tied it so tight the skin reddened and the veins stood out. She felt the rope bite into her flesh. The binding made her curl inward. Every small struggle only added to her pain. He tied her to the bedpost, forced her to lie still, murmuring, "Don't scream. If you scream, things will get worse." He left her there and went out to the kitchen. The door slid closed. The gas hissed on, then a lighter clicked. In the dimness he sat on a wooden chair, pulled out a cigarette, and lit it. The tiny flare of the match revealed the scars on his face for a moment, eyes as cold as ice. He exhaled smoke and stared at the burning tip, his eyes sinking into some barren memory. Each drag seemed to anchor him between present and past. Blowing out a thick plume, he smiled. Not a joyful smile, but the smile of someone plotting. A terrible thought crept into his mind, slow and chilling. He pictured it. A tape, a message, blackmail. He pictured how to turn Han's fear into leverage. Make her choose between her child's life and her dignity. Make everything around her collapse while no one suspected him. Satisfied, he decided the plan no longer needed brute force. Just the right touch, a few well-placed words, a clip believable enough to convince people that Han had betrayed, deceived, or made the wrong choice. He remembered the face of the man who hired him and the cold instruction, "Don't make noise. Just make her lose everything." That thought pleased him. He pulled out his phone, fingers trembling as he opened the video app. Han's shadowed figure, bound and curled in the corner of the bed, made a cruel enough image to serve as evidence. He started recording, then slowly stepped toward the door, but not directly out of the room. He paused, looked back at Han breathing shallowly, her face pale in the flickering light. "Soon you'll understand," he whispered, voice equal parts threat and promise. "No one in this world will believe you anymore." In the cold kitchen, the cigarette's ember glowed like an accomplice. He set the phone to record and turned on its speaker. He called, voice low and certain, and began describing the plan to the person on the other end. A photo, a few messages, a manufactured clip as proof. The scheme required finesse, time, and small setups to make everything look authentic. From the corner, Han heard the muffled words through the door. Evidence. Blackmail. The child. Like cold knives. The fear was no longer merely physical pain but the terror of losing her child, her reputation, the loving looks she once received. She tried to brace herself. Tears dried on her cheeks, but a faint flame remained in her heart. She must survive to save Tom. He laughed again. The sound blended with the rain outside. Then the phone went silent. His silhouette receded into deeper darkness, and the little house fell into a hush. Only Han's ragged breathing, the rain, and the echo of the plan being set in motion. That night the rain kept pouring. At the far end of the dirt road leading to the old garden house, Tana's mother, Bahoa, was returning from visiting an acquaintance. Her flashlight beam flickered through the rain and caught movement in the abandoned shack by the rice field. She stopped and heard faint crying. She approached, pulled aside a torn tarp. Under the light, little Tom's face appeared. Soaked, eyes red, clutching an old stuffed bear. "My goodness! Tom, why are you here all alone?" she cried, scooping the child up. Tom hiccuped out fragmented words. "Mom told me to stay, she said she'd come back. But she hasn't come back for a long time." Bahoa panicked. Having known Han, she knew she was careful and loving. Han would never leave Tom alone in a storm. A bad feeling gnawed at her. She wrapped Tom in her coat and ran home. Once there, she called Chu-tin, her son's younger brother, who worked with the local investigative police. Within minutes, Chu-tin and his wife Ko-kwa arrived. Seeing the soaked child, pale with cold, Tin frowned and asked, "Where did you find him?" "In the old shack at the end of the garden. He was alone. Han was nowhere to be found. I called but there was no answer." Tin became grave. Han would never leave her child. Something's happened. He set Tom on a chair and asked gently, "Do you remember where your mother went? Did anyone come to the house before she left?" Tom rubbed his eyes, shook his head, voice trembling. There was a man. Mom told me to go inside, then I didn't see anything else." Those words made the three of them exchange looks. No more needed to be said. Tin understood a crime had occurred. He stood up sharply and ordered, "I have to go now. Kwa, stay with your mother and the boy. Don't let anyone near the house." Ko-kwa nodded, holding Tom close to reassure him. Bahoa watched Tin ride off into the rain, worry gnawing at her. She whispered a prayer. "Please let Han be safe. Please keep this child and Tom unharmed." Tin rode his motorbike toward the old shack. Under the headlight, muddy footprints gleamed on the wet ground. A few long drags and odd scrape marks, signs of a dragged path, led to a small side road. He crouched and examined them. Big, heavy boot prints, not a woman's. Tin's heart raced. He shone his flashlight further and saw a small wool bracelet lying by the tree roots, the blue knit bracelet Han often wore. He clutched it in his hand, eyes darkening. Han, she's definitely been taken. Thunder rolled overhead, the wind whipping his raincoat. But Tina's mind had only one goal now: find the poor girl before it was too late. Han was tied up in the corner of the house, smoke beginning to thicken around her. She coughed violently, wrists bleeding as she struggled to break free. Outside, the rain still fell, but flames were already licking up the wooden walls from the kitchen. Thick black smoke curled upward with sharp cracking sounds. The man stood in the doorway, his face distorted in the flickering light. His eyes bulged, lips twisted into a crooked grin, and his hoarse laughter echoed through the room. I told you. No one defies me. You think you can run? He flicked open his lighter, set fire to an oil-soaked rag, and threw it against the wall. Flames burst up, glowing red, casting his face into something monstrous. The house groaned as the wood cracked and split. Han was paralyzed with fear. She screamed, her voice breaking. Help me. Somebody. Please. No answer. Only the pounding of rain outside and the roaring fire within. She twisted her body, rubbing the ropes against the bed frame. Her skin tore, blood dripping down, but the knots held. Each gust of wind fanned the fire, filling the air with the stench of burning wood and smoke that made her dizzy. He watched for a moment, the firelight flickering across his face. Part satisfaction, part madness. Then, like a man completely unhinged, he stepped back, then lunged forward again, throwing more burning debris inside. The house blazed bright. The walls started to collapse. Embers rained from the ceiling like red sparks. Han coughed violently, eyes stinging. She knew. If she didn't get out now, in just minutes the fire would swallow everything, including her. Clenching her teeth, she pulled with all her strength. The rope bit deeper into her wrists. Then snap! It broke. She fell to the ground, hands numb, and crawled toward the window. But flames already blocked the path. Wind howled, scattering sparks that singed her hair. Desperate, she spotted a broken metal bar from the bed frame. She grabbed it and pried at the window slats. One by one, the wooden bars gave way amid the crackling fire. The smoke grew so thick she could hardly breathe. Each breath tore at her throat. But in her mind there was only one image, her son Tom waiting for her. My baby. Mommy's coming, she whispered. Then forced herself through the narrow window and tumbled outside. Behind her, a deafening explosion, the roof caved in. She collapsed on the wet ground, covered in soot, gasping for air. In the distance, the man stood watching the burning house, laughing hoarsely in the rain. Han lay still, her body trembling, but her eyes still held a flicker of life. She had escaped. Yet the madman was still out there, and he wouldn't stop. From afar, the fire glowed blood-red against the dark rain, smoke spiraling upward as the roof crackled apart. Dogs began barking at the end of the village. Chu Tin, following the trail through the storm, swung his flashlight along the muddy road when a red glow caught his eye. He braked hard, heart tightening. Kwa! Look, it's on fire. Kokwa looked up, face paling. My God, that's Han's house. Without another word, Tin gunned the engine. Wind whipped against his face. The rain stung like needles. The fire loomed closer, lighting the winding dirt path. When they arrived, Han's house was an inferno. Half the roof had collapsed, the windows blazed. Explosions popped as the timber split, smoke thick in the air. Hun! Kwa cried, about to rush in, but Tin stopped her. Wait! Let me! He wrapped his jacket around his arms, covered his face with a wet cloth, and plunged into the flames. Kwa gripped her hands together, trembling, eyes fixed on the burning house. Through the crimson light, Tin saw a figure collapse near the porch. Han. She lay curled up, hair singed, breath faint. Hun! He rushed over and lifted her. Just as he carried her out, the back section of the roof caved in, fire roaring higher. They both fell to the ground as ash and smoke billowed around them. Hun! Wake up! Kwa ran to them, kneeling beside her. Tin laid Han on her side, gently tapping her cheek. Hun! Can you hear me? Hold on. Han coughed violently, thick smoke pouring from her throat. Her eyes fluttered open, lips trembling. Tom, my son. He's safe. Tom's with Tana's mother. You're safe now, Kwa soothed, wiping soot and sweat from her forehead. Han weakly looked around, voice broken. There was a man. He set the fire. He wanted to kill me. Tina's jaw tightened, his eyes blazing through the smoke. Who? Did you see his face? Han shook her head, tears mixing with ash. No, just his voice, so familiar. A faint noise came from behind the garden. Tin spun around. A shadow darted through the rain. He grabbed his flashlight. Stop! He shouted, sprinting after it. But the figure vanished into the darkness, leaving deep footprints in the mud and the acrid scent of smoke in the air. Kwa helped Han sit up, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. Bahoa came running, tears streaming as she threw her arms around Han. Oh dear heavens, you're alive! Han sobbed, her voice hoarse from smoke. I thought I'd never get out. Bahoa held her tight, trembling. It's over now. Tin and Kwa saved you. You must stay strong, do you hear me? In the distance, villagers were finally putting out the last flames. Smoke hung heavy over the charred remains. Tin stood silently, fury and suspicion burning in his chest. He knew this wasn't just an accident. His flashlight beam swept over the debris and stopped on a half-burned object. A metal lighter engraved with a single letter. M. He picked it up, eyes narrowing. Han, you said. The voice sounded familiar. Maybe it's someone who's been around here before. I'll find him. Han said nothing, her hands trembling as she clutched Bahoa's hand. After the flames were finally extinguished, smoke still rose faintly from the smoldering ruins. Han's small house was nothing more than a charred wooden frame. One corner of the wall collapsed into ashes. The man, that stranger, had slipped away into the rain-soaked darkness while everyone was busy rescuing her. Only the metal lighter remained, lying on the wet ground. Tin slipped the piece of evidence into his jacket pocket, then turned back to Han. She sat motionless, her face pale, eyes blankly fixed on the heap of rubble. Beside her, Bahoa held her hand tightly, while Kwa busied herself wrapping a coat around Han to keep her warm. Tin placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his voice steady and gentle. Enough, don't look anymore. What matters now is for you to rest. I'll take you to my place, stay with me and Kwa for the night. We'll figure things out in the morning. Han nodded faintly. She no longer had the strength to speak. Only when the car stopped in front of Kwa's house, where the soft yellow light glowed through the windows, and little Tom stood timidly by the doorway, did her tears finally fall. Mom! Tom cried out and ran toward her. Han dropped to her knees and embraced him tightly. She wept uncontrollably, her tears soaking into the child's wet hair. My baby. Thought, I was so afraid I'd never see you again. Tom buried his face into her shoulder, sobbing. I was scared too, Mom. I thought you left me. The sight silenced everyone. Kwa's eyes burned, her nose stinging with emotion. Bahoa stood nearby, eyes glistening as she quietly wiped her tears. There. It's a blessing you're both safe. Heaven still has mercy. Kwa helped Han inside, lit the small stove, and brought her a set of dry clothes. Change into these and warm up. Drink some ginger tea, it'll help. Han's trembling hands took the cup. She sipped slowly, the warmth sliding down her throat, spreading through her chest. A tangible reminder that she was still alive. Tears welled up again, this time not from fear, but from relief. Thank you all, she whispered hoarsely. Kwa sat beside her and said softly, Don't say anything now. Just calm down. We'll find whoever did this. Meanwhile, Tin stood under the porch, rain dripping steadily from the roof. His gaze remained fixed on the road where the stranger had escaped. In his mind, Han's trembling words echoed. That voice, it was familiar. He clenched his fist silently. Whoever he is, he'll pay for this, he murmured, voice low but resolute. That night, Han fell asleep on the small couch in the living room, with little Tom curled beside her under a blanket. Kwa sat nearby, watching over them, her hand gently brushing the singed strands of Han's hair. In the soft lamplight, Han's face looked heartbreakingly peaceful, as if, after surviving the storm, all she needed to keep living was her child in her arms. Outside, the rain had yet to stop. Tin paced back and forth in the dark yard, eyes fixed on the empty road where the man had vanished. The cold wind swept past, tugging at his collar, and in that moment, he knew deep down that the real battle was only just beginning.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video của mình. Chúc mọi người có những phút giây xem video thật vui vẻ. Hiện tại kênh của mình đang kể câu chuyện về người mẹ đơn thân Diệu Hân và người mẹ đơn thân Lytulinda. Và những video của mình thì được phát hành vào khung giờ 7 giờ tối Việt Nam và 7 giờ sáng tại Việt Nam. Và để không bỏ lỡ video nào thì mọi người nhớ like, share, bật chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất nha. Và cả hai câu chuyện này mình đang chia sẻ cho mọi người đều kể về những người mẹ đơn thân ở Việt Nam và họ phải vượt qua những sóng gió khổ cực để tìm được hạnh phúc mới cho mình. Nhưng liệu cuộc sống có cho họ một cuộc sống dễ dàng hay không? Mời mọi người đón xem ở những video tiếp theo của mình. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người nha.